Hey, what's up? This is Brian Kuzmar with Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals in beautiful Lauderdale by the Sea. Hope you all having a great day and really clear day out there in the Deerfield Beach Underwater Cam, which is a city right up the street from us. A lot of different fish out there today, and there's a big snook right there. Kind of funny too. Let me make a quick analogy here. You notice how these fish move in? These are all the bait fish right here, what we call bait fish down here. They move in large schools. Why do they move in large schools? Is because there's safety in numbers, there's safety in those large groups, and there's also a comfort level that they feel in large groups. And they also, it's a follow the crowd type of thing. This is not unlike humans. This is not unlike us. Humans kind of desire, wow, look, I'm sorry, don't mean to be interrupted, but look how many snook are down there. That's a huge game fish here in Florida. That's most fishermen with their jaws would drop right now. But on with my little analogy here, there's here predators down here, and look, there's a big wide circle around these predators. They know, and for the most part, large groups will tend to move in unison away from trouble and away from predators. Like I said, there's safety in numbers. There's comfort in those numbers. And there's also a lot of follow the crowd here, which can be just as dangerous. Because sometimes when you're following the crowd, you could be pushed into, or led right into danger. And that's kind of what we got going on out in the world right now. And I'll explain that in a bit. Here, I'm going to give you one of my little secrets too, also here in a moment, on why I'm usually in a happy mood and not too upset on a daily basis. Unlike a lot of people, and I'll show you why at home. Quickly though, let's do a quick flip here. See what the coin says for the market today. The coin says a bull. I'm certainly not seeing that this morning or last night. We seem to be sideways, but coin says what it says. And again, we just kind of do that for fun. Sometimes it's right, sometimes it's not. Well, my secret to a good life, folks, is not necessarily following the schools out there. I look at the school, and I guess I'm part of the big school and the big schooling fish, but I'm the one fish in there that kind of looks at the other ones and say, maybe I shouldn't follow that guy. So, but I don't know if those kind of bait fish exist, but I'm sure there's a few in that big pile of bait fish right here that maybe this guy or this guy that says, maybe this is not a good idea going that way. I'm going to go that way. I'm sure that's me. And my secret to a good life, folks, is in 2008, I basically turned off corporate news entirely. If there's one thing that someone asked me, and I know it doesn't sound like it applies to gold and silver and precious metals, but it really does, is turn off corporate news. Well, first off, when it comes to precious metals, corporate news absolutely sucks. There are experts that they quote. I've told this story many times of reading a Wall Street Journal article that was quoting their experts in gold, and I happen to know one of the people that they quoted, and nice guy and everything, but oh my God, far from an expert. And this is the Wall Street Journal, the supposed top newspaper out there, quoting their experts in gold. And this guy had really no clue what he was talking about when it came to gold, but they were quoting him as an expert. So, and I'm sure that's not uncommon in many different things, including politics, economics, you name it. That they're wrong on so many things. And sometimes they're wrong just because they don't bother to take the time to look, or they don't care. But a lot of times they're wrong because they're painting a narrative, whether it's their own narrative or someone else's narrative. And that narrative is usually a single point, a single view, a single opinion that mainstream media wants you to know and wants you to believe. And that's why I turned off corporate news back in a couple things. I turned off corporate news back in 2008, and I'm going to be quite frank with you, because I watched corporate news, both flavors, the blue and the red flavor corporate news. I watched them screw Ron Paul out of the primaries in 2008, and I literally watched it. So I'm not surprised to see how the last election went. I wasn't surprised at all, but because I did see it happen in 2008, it was clear as a bell. They even acknowledged that it happened afterwards, but it was kind of like, well, it's our game. We can run it how we want. But after that point, and how I saw the media cooperated in that fraud in 2008 really just turned me off in a big way. I mean, I knew always that they were a single narrative. Corporate media is all about a single narrative. And what they like to do is they like to pretend sometimes that they believe in, more than one opinion, but it's not true, folks. They don't. Usually when they bring in a second opinion that is different than what their narrative they're trying to paint for you is, usually when they bring in a second opinion, they try to make fun of it. They degrade the person or whatever it may be, or they just half-assed kind of like, okay, all right, we get we think, we respect your opinion, but really this is the way it is. So the best thing you can do in your life is turn off corporate media. And I mean, that's the television, big corporate media. I'm talking about also the print corporate media. Now, I don't mean completely turn off the television. That's the smartest thing you can do, number one. Start reading more. Even if you're reading excerpts from Fox or CNN or whoever it may be, start reading more. And don't listen to the TV to get don't use that as your source for news or your source for information or your source for opinion. Otherwise, you'll end up being led to slaughter like some of these ones that will be following those idiots. Then there's idiots in this crowd of fish right here too, I'm sure. They're the ones that get the other fish eaten. So my best advice to you is turn off corporate news completely. Get your news online, read as much as you can, and don't be afraid to read stuff that is when you look at it you go, oh God, that's conspiratorial, because conspiracies sometimes, I heard long ago, someone once told me that, think about it, if just 1% of the craziest, most crackpot conspiracy theories that you heard were true, I mean, what would that's significant in my opinion. Again, if 1% of the craziest crackpot conspiracy theories you ever heard, if just 1% of them were true over a lifetime, that's too much already. So don't be afraid to look at alternative viewpoints that are not your own. That again. That includes corporate media, but I wouldn't watch television. Again, there's something about TV that just kind of like poisons the whole thing. And I suggest if you're reading, again, read alternative viewpoints as well. Read conspiracies. Read it all. Use your brain. Be an independent thinker. Don't let other people think for you. I mean, that's if there's one thing that I can teach you as far as, and I have been with precious metals, and I'm going to get off the social and the political part of it, is that you need to learn. This is what I'm here for. I'm here to teach you guys what I know, my experience in the last, since 1977 I've been doing this, but long time as a precious metal and rare coin dealer. So if I can teach you some stuff that help you, do what you do better, which is buying and selling precious metals, that's important. But one of the part of the teaching is I don't want you to be dependent on me. I'm giving you like all these articles. I'm telling you stuff I know about. I'm giving you my experience and my opinion. I'm giving this for you to own. You don't owe me anything for it. I appreciate it if you live in my area, you come and do business with me, but you don't owe me anything for it. Again, boy, I don't know. I just kind of wanted to explain this a little bit, that I'm here to teach you how to fish, not give you a fish. I'm not sure that's a biblical saying or not, but someone told me it wasn't. I just remember it's an old saying. You can give a man a fish and he'll eat for a day, or you can teach a man to fish and he'll eat for life. I always like that saying, biblical or not. And I'm here to teach you how to fish. I'm not here to give you a fish like a lot of people are out there. Let's take a look at markets here, because I can meander on, and I do. Sorry about that. And let's just do a quick refresh. I'm kind of curious where we are since I've been yakking here for the last 10 minutes. Down a little bit, 1789. Let's see what the ranges are. 1787 to 1801 for gold, 2388 to 2430 for silver, and platinum 975 to 992, under that $1,000 mark. But I mean, they're just like hanging. Gold's hanging on to that 1800 mark right thereabouts. It seems that there's some big forces out there trying to drive it down. Even further than what we're looking at here in gold and silver, and even platinum. And there seems to be some resistance to this these sub $1,800 pullbacks and these sub $24 pullbacks. Seems to be a lot of resistance, because it gets hammered down a little bit, a few cents, excuse me, for the last couple weeks, and then it kind of just jumps back up to that level. However, I think this has a lot to do with the paper markets are in the bear market. The paper markets are in a bear market, I think. The gold and silver paper markets, the stuff that's not really backed by precious metals. And I think that's the result of what we're seeing in these prices right here. because based on demand, there's a huge demand for gold right now. There's a huge demand for silver. And it doesn't make any sense right now whatsoever why metals haven't taken off even further, because the demand is super high, the supply is super low, and again, supply and demand, that's basic fundamentals, folks. There's not too much to talk about here. As I said, there's a huge demand for precious metals right now. We'll get into that in a moment with the U.S. Mint issues they're having, and there's a huge amount of demand for it right now. I've been selling precious metals here for years and years. I haven't seen any capitulation at all in the last couple of years. A few people saying, "Oh man, I got to sell my gold and silver. I got to raise money for this or that." Which is fortunate that they have it, and most of them have made money. However, all the investors in the tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands and even millions and millions of dollars worth of stuff that I've sold over the years, there's been no capitulation. In fact, all I see is buyers coming in. We have 10 buyers for every seller, and that's the truth of precious metals. So this market makes zero frickin' sense at all. What it does make sense, it tells me that the paper markets are, again, the tail is wagging the dog here. So don't fall for it. If you get the opportunity and you can buy real metal, real gold bars and real silver bars and coins, not the paper bullshit. If you can buy the real stuff and get it at these lower levels, again, buy the dips. This is about wealth preservation right now. And if you're already bought in, don't worry about it. Just relax. Our day will come as soon as that paper nonsense falls to pieces, and it looks like it is based on what's happening. It's completely gone in the opposite direction of physical sales in the physical market. So that tells me that paper market is in shit trouble right now. Let's take a look at some articles real quick. Seeking Alpha, man, I really like this site. I recommend anyone to go in and sign up for it and pay the little bit amount that they want for it. They have a lot of good reads on here besides precious metals, but gold's path to $5,000. I looked at this. I thought it was kind of interesting. Victor Durganov, nice article here, young guys too, but doesn't seem anti-gold. Didn't call us all gold bugs either. Gold, his summary was gold recently concluded a long-term 20% correction process. He's absolutely correct on that. Finally, gold's technical setup is increasingly bullish again. He might be correct on that. Again, I'm not a chartist. I like charts because it tells you where you've been. I don't think it necessarily always tells you where you're going, but you heard me say that a million times. In addition to the favorable technical image, gold is supported by a perfect storm of constructive fundamental factors. Absolutely true, but again, a lot of people are asking, what the hell? I mean, we've got inflation going on. We've got everything that should be lighting the price of gold off. It should be like a firecracker, boom, but it's not happening. What's up? Well, again, I'm telling you folks, what's happening is manipulation by central bankers and manipulation by large entities, I'm not sure, working for the government or not working for the government or central banks, one and the same kind of in a way. That's what's keeping precious metal prices down. It has nothing to do with fundamentals. And that's, again, which kind of frightens some people. Well, oh man, if it's been manipulated this long and they keep doing this, why should I even play? Well, the reason you should play is because, first off, they're not going to make it go to zero. Period. It's never going to happen, folks. They're never going to drive it down to zero. As I said, what do central banks own in their vaults? What is in Fort Knox, supposedly? Gold. They don't own fiat currency. They don't own other bullshit. They own gold, folks. So they're not going to drive it to zero. They're not going to cut off their own winkies. They're not going to step on their own winkies. But they will try to manipulate people out of the precious metals market and into cryptos and into non-existent money, non-existent things that aren't produce anything, things that aren't fundamental, like fiat currency, like cryptos. That's where they want you to go. Except for the crypto part, they're just kind of easing us into the Fed crypto and the central bank crypto and the government cryptos, which are going to be rolled out at some point when they finally demonize Bitcoin and Ethereum and those kind of things. Again, heavily regulate them or put them out of business completely. As I said, central banks, one thing they do hate more than anything else is they hate competition. Gold could be headed to 5,000 before many market participants anticipate. I can't argue with that. I always avoid going like 5 grand and 10 grand, but it's not impossible, man. It could very well happen. When that big crowd when this school right here, we see this school right here. This school has not been swimming to gold. It's not been swimming to silver. But when part of this school starts to swim to precious metals, folks, that's when you're going to wake up in the morning, as I said, and you're going to go, holy smokes, what the F just happened? And it wasn't the schools that got there first. It was going to be the whales and the big predators they're going to make huge buys, and you're going to wake up one morning and go, what drove the price of gold? That'll be the biggies, and then following them will be the schools of the masses of people. Will be following them next, and then before you know it, we could easily be at $5,000 gold. However, it's not a matter of if gold will hit $5,000, it's really just when. And again, with gold and silver, it's never a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And if there's one thing that you can take to the bank, well, don't take it to the bank, keep it in your house. But if there's one thing that you can count on, is that gold and silver, if you look at the charts over decades and decades, we keep getting higher lows and higher highs. Again, higher lows and higher highs if you look at the chart. It's just the way it's historically been. And again, history is history is history. You can't go back and rewrite that. If you look at the charts, higher highs, higher lows. If you look at the value of currencies in the fiat dollar, what you've seen is lower lows and lower highs. Again, just look at the chart. Look at the dollar index chart for a long period of time versus the gold chart. Dollar chart lower lows and lower highs, and the gold and silver higher highs and higher lows. So where do you want to be, folks? You don't want to be in currency, that's for sure. And if you're going to own something like this, not a digital 1 and 0. However, as I said, not anti-Bitcoin. If you know how to play that game, and if you're good and you've been to that casino and you know who the players are and how they play, and you've made money in the crypto market, I am a capitalist at heart. I don't see anything wrong with that market existing, none at all. Again, my only issues with it is it's not money, and there's nothing tangible behind it. So it's not my kind of investment per se. However, people made a ton of money on it, and I respect that. I also respect people that go to casinos and make a ton of money. So my respect level is about the same there, because they both know what they're doing. They're just not blindly throwing money at it. And most people that jump into the cryptos, they're just jumping in like the school fish. They're just following the schools, man. And that's the worst thing to do. The best thing to do is to be that smart bait fish in the middle that knows exactly what's coming up and anticipates that and knows how to play the game. So again, not messing with the crypto crowd or the crypto business. I'm completely for it. But the things I've always reminded you is governments and banks hate competition. And don't play that game unless you really know what you're doing. As far as gold and silver goes, just because we always get higher highs and higher lows, you don't even have to really understand it that much, to be honest with you. You can throw it in a drawer and forget about it, and chances are it's going to be worth more. History says that. That's the way it's been for 5,000 years. Gold and silver survived for 5,000 years as money. It survived as a real form of wealth and a real form of transfer and wealth preservation. It's outsurvived currencies, countries, empires, you name it. So it's not going anywhere anytime soon. And as I said, more buyers out there than sellers by a long shot. Interesting article by Jay Handers, who I think, forget which company that he writes for, but gold bullion bar supply crunch for U.S. Mint. Apparently the U.S. Mint, and as he mentions here, U.S. Mint has already hit a record gold bullion coin sales for 2021 in terms of overall fiat Fed note revenue. At this rate, this gold color bar on this chart below is on a pace to go near $3 billion by the year end. Let's go into a few other things. The U.S. Mint, there's a little quote here. The U.S. Mint is playing an elaborate game of chicken or egg as it relates to selling low premium gold bullion to their AP network in high volumes. Historically, the U.S. Mint purchases the large raw gold bullion bars from a number of sources and uses other vendors to produce 22 karat and 24 karat planchet. The U.S. Mint stamps and strikes bullion American Eagles, Buffalo coins with those planchets. Each raw gold bullion bar and planchet purchase comes from a set of very strict, explicit standards, terms of delivery and such, that binds the seller to specific terms. And failure of the seller to meet those terms agreed to with the U.S. Mint is very costly. I guess in their contracts that they must lose a lot of money if they can't supply these planchets for them. The U.S. Mint is now quoting unexpected delays on their products, notably pointing to the lack of supply of the raw gold bar bullions being offered by them. Folks, as I said, as we sit here and look at prices of gold going down and sideways and not moving up, and you think of the old, the high school supply and basic economics, economics 101, supply and demand. We have a shrinking supply out there, a huge demand. Even the U.S. Mint is having a hard time obtaining planchets, obtaining blanks. They're not buying gold eagles. They're not having a hard time supplying gold eagles. They can't even get the gold to make the eagles. So people that say there's no shortage of physical product out there, they're full of shit. They really are. So stop listening to those people. These markets the reason the prices that we're seeing right now in precious metals are nowhere near accurate. They're nowhere near reality, what the price of precious metals really should be. We have a huge problem with supply out there, and we have a huge, not a problem, but we have a huge amount of demand out there. And again, even the Mint is saying that. So why is gold and silver sitting at these levels? Well, as I've been saying, monkey hammered, manipulated by either central banks, entities that work for central banks, or maybe just these entities alone that are just crooked and taking advantage of the shit rules that allow them to do that, and allow the regulators are morons when it comes to precious metals. So don't expect any help there. But no less, at some point, the physical is going to completely separate from the paper prices, and it kind of already has a few times here. But at what point does it separate completely, and what do we do then? Well, I guess we'll be working on premiums mostly. Consider the suppliers of raw gold bullion bars are often the same parties buying the finished bullion coin product. It's an odd phenomenon where each party in some sense biting the hand that feeds them, or at least shirking their respective shortcomings. The main reason for this development is it's too costly for suppliers to agree to deliver scheduled to the U.S. Mint a supply of 400-ounce gold bullion bars itself. Again, if you read here, why is there a shortage of 400-ounce gold bullion bars out there? I mean, first off, gold bullion bars are so much easier to make than eagles, all right? We've had no problem getting the eagles out when the Mint gets the product, but they're not getting the product. So why is it so hard to get gold bars? You got to ask yourself that, especially when you see a market sideways and a market going down. This tells you that there's absolutely monkey hammering going on and manipulation. But as I said, we know this. We know how the casino rigs the game, and that's why we're going to win this game, folks. And that's how we're winning this game, actually. And they're going to be big losers in the end. Well, at least we hope they are. Well, if we all win too, I guess we can't complain about that. Gold U.S. Mint suppliers are not able to meet the schedule in which massive fines penalties are imposed in such occurrence. The bottom line is the U.S. Treasury and U.S. Mint can't keep up with the rising public global demand for their bullion products. And again, is this reflected in the bullshit paper prices that we're looking at right here, folks? No, it's not. The price discovery, I got to just say it right out the way it is. The price discovery for gold sucks. The price discovery for gold is based on bullshit. The price discovery for gold can't be trusted. However, what you can trust is if you can pick up the stuff near these ridiculously low paper prices and take advantage of their chicanery. So, how do you like that word? I hope I pronounced it right. And chicanery. Let's move on to, well, anyways. Oh, boys, where did I kind of move? I got out of my, I went from one article to another. I do apologize for that. I never finished off this article. I was just talking about gold being rare right here. And just to finish off Victor's article, and sorry about that. I skipped from one to another. It's not unlike me, by the way. I wanted to, sorry to make you dizzy here, close your eyes for a second until I get to the bottom of the page. I liked this assessment here, the bottom line. Gold recently concluded a long-term correction process. It was a 20% we were mentioning in the article earlier before I skipped to the other article. The metal dropped by 20% now and appears like it's beating a new long-term uptrend. In addition to the increasingly bullish technical setup, gold should benefit from a remarkably favorable fundamental backdrop. Fed policy, inflation, a perpetually increasing monetary base, and a slew of other constructive essential factors should enable sentiment surrounding gold to strengthen. As improved sentiment translates into increasing demand, gold should move substantially higher from here, and we could see gold reach around 5,000 within the next 1 to 2 years. Well, from your lips to the golden god's ears, Victor. I can't argue with that. Like to see that happen myself. Don't think it's impossible. It's not a matter of when gold hits. If gold hits 5,000, it's a matter of when. So I got to agree with that. Good article by Victor Durganov on Seeking Alpha. And again, I think it's a subscription site. I think you can read some of this stuff for free, but I'd advise getting a subscription. It was cheap enough, and they got a lot of good stuff on there. And to go back to the article, which I skipped from one middle to the other, a decent article, good article by Jay Handers here. And again, bringing up the point that there's a shortage of gold bars out there, and U.S. Mint's having an issue. And despite all this, again, look where prices are. I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's stupid. He also goes into the issue that CME Group has with 400-ounce bars, and some past issues that they were having with 400-ounce bars, having a lack of them. A good article, again, you can read this for free on Zero Hedge. It's called Gold Bullion Bar Supply Crunch for U.S. Mint. Let me just kind of roll back here and see if there's anything else we need to go over here. And I don't think so. Your typical political stuff, and if I want to make this show another hour, I'll start going into some of this stuff, but we're not going to do that today, folks. I'm going to move over to a good article on AIER. I've added this to my reading list as well. I hope you do too. I believe it's free. American Institute for Economic Research. And gosh, this was interesting that, El Salvador, I admire this young man going into, a new technology and trying something new for his peoples, but I think it was really a bad idea. Excuse me there, I swallowed my coffee the wrong way. If you didn't know, the president of El Salvador, and I think he's a very young man, one of the youngest people out there to run a country, decided to put his country, take the country off the dollar and put it into Bitcoin. Oh, bit rash move on my opinion. And what did happen after his whole country bought Bitcoin? The hammer, gosh damn, they really lowered the, it went down substantially. And he's got some issues with it. Polls taken revealed that El Salvadoran citizens were overwhelmingly not enthused with the change in legal tender. And they found that 70% of the sample would rather see Bitcoin law repealed. Now, this is not good for his presidency if he plans on running again. If he just introduced a law that changed it from the dollar to Bitcoin, and then the first thing he did is they went out and bought Bitcoin, and it went down, tens of thousands of dollars. They lost tons. El Salvador lost a lot of money the last couple days. Now, who lowered the hammer on El Salvador, or who got out of the market? Probably one of the big whales out there got out and said, hey, screw this, I'm done. I'm going to take my profits out of Bitcoin, and I'm going to stick El Salvador in with them. So the problem with Bitcoin is the more people that get out of it, if they decide to get out of it, it's just kind of a self-feeding frenzy. The price just keeps going lower and lower until somebody makes a big announcement like El Salvador, we're buying some more. This provides the whales to get out and not lower the market on themselves and leave someone else holding the bag, so to speak. So no less, not a good move, in my opinion, that El Salvador went for Bitcoin. I think this is going to be a great example of why we need to avoid a cashless society. It's already happening there. They don't even have the ATMs or the ability to do this, so I'm not quite sure what this young man was thinking. But, it's nice to be innovative and thinking ahead, but not when you have millions of people relying on you, and it's a giant experiment. Again, just my opinion. Another thing here too, this is just sad. This is just really sad. Whistleblowers, it's pretty. You live in a criminal society when people that expose the truth, people expose criminal behavior that's truthful, get thrown in jail and get thrown in prison. And this is a perfect example of what we got going on here. Ex-Treasury official leaks exposed corrupt banks, goes to prison for it. Natalie Mae Edwards has made a pact with her 16, this is sad, 16-year-old daughter. Every night before bed, she says a prayer. I'm emotionally prepared as far as entering. So we're going to get past the emotional part of this, which, again, really sad. She's got to leave her family for telling the truth, folks, for exposing criminals. For telling the truth about exposing criminals. They throw people in prison for that now. Look at Assange. Look at Snowden. Now, the spin is that you're not supposed to like these guys, but the truth of the matter is they told us that our governments were doing criminal behavior, and our governments put them in jail for it, or made them leave the country, or was trying to kill them for it, more or less. Snowden fears for his life. And all they really did, again, folks, they exposed criminal behavior by our government. And it doesn't make sense to me. And the same thing with this lady. Former Treasury official Edwards, whose decision to leak a trove of highly confidential government documents to BuzzFeed News, prompting a massive investigation that exposed, get this. Now, she didn't just expose, like their addresses and how much money they make. She exposed how dirty money moves through the global banking system. She exposed how corrupt money, which if you and I did anything corrupt, these banks would have us put under the jails. But meanwhile, they don't mind handling corrupt money in the billions. And she exposed this, and she's going to prison. Isn't this sad? She reported to moves to the global banking system to help spur legislative action in the U.S. and beyond. So she exposed bad stuff happened. Now she's going to go to prison for 6 months for exposing Folks, when you live in a society that puts people in prison for exposing criminal activity, you live in a criminal society. That's the fact. This is just plain sad and plain bad. Meanwhile, we've got companies like Goldman and all these guys too big to fail and too big to jail. They're major criminals in some of the manipulation in the markets that they deal in. And they're in bed with government, too. So, gosh, I'm not going to go there. You know how I feel about this. This is just plain frickin' sad. And, again, it tells you that we're being ruled by criminals, in my opinion. Well, going to go into yesterday's video, Misery Loves Company. I talked about the Misery Index, and I'm going to do a show on the Misery Index. I'm going to start, I got to take a little time and compare the Misery Index to gold and silver prices and things like that. I don't think anyone's done it, and I'm going to do that here pretty soon. Watch some other video. I'll try to do it first. We'll see. Hey, I hope he does a better job than me. But I'm going to try to do a comparison with the Misery Index and gold and silver prices ratios and that kind of thing. If I can do that tomorrow, I will. If not, it'll probably be sometime next week. And again, that's what the name of the show was, Misery Loves Company. I was just kind of showing you the Misery Index and explaining where it came from. Oh, here we go. Let me go back there. Sorry about that. Let's take a look at yesterday's videos and some of the comments. Well, we know what I did on yesterday's video, and if you don't, you can watch it. I bought a, what do they call it? A Kawasaki 650, Z650 or something like that. It's a naked bike, they call it, or something. Fun for me. I kept eyeing out the super bikes, but I knew what would happen. I'd be a smoking hole somewhere. So I got a super bike, especially since I haven't been a bike in a long time. Thanks for asking, Jersey Rider. Thomas says, someone educate me, please. Bad jobs report last Friday. Worse than expected. Stock market down. Why the hell would Thomas, I think we just did basically a whole video on that just now. That's why, because of manipulation and stuff. But that'll end. It just provides, again, this manipulation, this sideways market and this down market in a time when it really should be way higher, just provides people an opportunity to buy the real stuff more. Us, the people that are listening, the people that are buying ETFs and that kind of thing, they're the suckers out there. The real winners are going to be people that are buying purchasing physical gold. You'll benefit from this. Thanks for watching, Tom. I appreciate it. And Tim, I'm glad we made you happy. Monkey Hammer Day. Yeah, Master Sensei. I was going to title the show yesterday, Monkey Hammer Wednesday. But it's funny. The monkey hammering that I've been seeing going on is in small increments. It usually starts early in the morning before New York opens and then kind of continues through the day in New York. Kind of weird. However, it doesn't seem to be effective. I think the attempt is to drive the market substantially below 1,800. But with these little tiny raids that they're doing, it's not real effective, whereas in the past, when we didn't have huge demand, I'd say 2017, this kind of tactic of slowly chipping away at metals during the week in New York and early in the morning has been effective, but doesn't seem to be effective right now. I think that they're only left with these huge monkey hammering, which is these huge moments where they knock it down big in the thinly traded markets overnight. I think that's the only way they can do it right now. And the last few have been so in our face. I think that they know that it's going to blow up on them at some point, or bring some kind of regulation down on them. Maybe, and maybe not. Again, like I said, some of these companies are probably too big to fail and too big to jail, more than likely. Thanks for watching, Master Sensei. I love the fishes too, so love to eat them as well, as you said, with tartar sauce. Good morning, love the coral and the coin. What do I think about China dumping copper? Got to tell you, Linda, not my expertise, so I really can't explain it. I can tell you that China just does it blatantly. They just come out, and if they don't want a market to go too high, they'll just come out and blatantly manipulate it. They'll say they're going to do it. Oh, we're going to sell a huge amount of this or that, or we're going to force the price down. So they, the one thing about China, even though I disagree with manipulating markets, is that they do it in the open. What sucks about this country and a lot of Western countries is they claim they don't do it, but they do it in the they do it in the background. So it's not unlike what we see here, but no less. It can only work so long. They can only manipulate these hard commodities so long. Where the law of good money drives out bad money, or bad money drives out good money, or yeah, that's more like it. Is that at some point people will just say, screw that, I don't want paper contracts of copper, I want the real copper, and they'll start taking delivery of that copper, and then all of a sudden it'll turn the other way. So real copper, that is, not the paper. Thanks for watching, Linda. Jeremy says, afternoon, Brian. Thanks for your help today and taking my call. No sweat. I hope that worked out for you. Thanks for calling, Jeremy. Chris says, another great. Thank you, sir. Bought the dip. Okay, Joey. And someone, lead was going to be the next precious metal. Out of my expertise, sir. Couldn't even tell you. Thanks for watching, Howard. $3 billion in crypto margin wiped out yesterday. I love the crypto. Been in it since 2016. Rob says, I do not use margin. I've done well over time. And I sell crypto for precious metals while I can. Plenty of that on the table. Here's a gentleman, Rob. Rob sounds like he knows how the crypto markets are played. And even Rob, I bet you, if you're going to comment today, would tell you, if you don't understand how the casino is run, who the players are, and how the game is rigged, don't play it. Rob would tell you that probably with cryptos as well, wouldn't you, Rob? Thanks for watching, Rob. I appreciate it. D-Man, thank you. I hope you like that AIER site. It's really cool. And there's some good stuff on there, man. I like it. Different opinions, too. Guy Foot, I was going to say you can really talk, and I wish I had it on my side. Used to be that way, knew not what happened to it, but it seems like we're since my daughter committed suicide. Really sorry to hear that, brother. Hey, listen, this too shall pass, so you'll be talking again, and that'll be on your side again at some point. There's a grieving process, I'm sure, that we all go through, and really sorry to hear that, my friend. However, I don't think your daughter would want you to not talk like you used to. In fact, she'd probably agree with me and get out there and start talking again, Guy. So, hey. Thanks for watching. Michael Matthews. So Toyota announced yesterday it would be producing more battery-powered or hybrid cars. Platinum, I'm not quite sure. If they start, palladium is so much higher than platinum, but the problem is if they all make the announcement they're going to move to platinum, that cartel of Canadians, South Africans, and Russians, the mob there, the mob cartel that controls those prices, all they're going to do is just drive up the price of platinum. So I don't think it's a win-win for them to switch over to platinum. I think they're going to just stay with palladium. But you never know. You never know. If there's a shortage of palladium, maybe they'll go back to using platinum and catalytic converters. I like when I talk about BIZ and IMF. I like talking about them too. I just wonder at what time I'm going to disappear. You're going to say, where'd Brian go? He was talking about BIZ and IMF too much. He just disappeared. Gitmo. He went to Gitmo. Thanks for watching, Linda. Appreciate it. Tree Climber. Thanks, Brian, for the voice of sanity. I appreciate it as well. Yeah, that's kind of scary. I mean, we're not seeing the end of regulation on any of this stuff. And little Cryptmatic says, my goodness, I was looking at buying Bitcoin after $8. Yeah, I was telling the story yesterday. I was going to buy a couple $100 at $7 a Bitcoin, and I was too ignorant to figure out how to buy it, where to put it. So I didn't do it. There you go. I would have been a a multi 10,000, 100,000 area with that, wouldn't I? A couple $100, $7 each. Ooh, I would have done well. And I probably would have forgot about it, and I probably would have forgot my my password too. I'm sure of that. Hey, thanks for watching, Rob. Cryptmatic. Rob says, morning, Coral Cam looks great. You know, some brass and copper jackets. I got a certain amount of that, but it's only my runaway ammo because I'm definitely not running forward. So it's just my cover fire. I think if you need more than a couple clips, you better get the fuck out of town. Excuse my language. Sorry about that. You know, because you're in a war zone at that point. So, you know, I don't have huge amounts of ammo. I don't suspect that that's going to be a problem for me. I figure if things got that bad, I'm going to some place where I don't need that much ammo. So, hey, thanks for watching, Rob. I really appreciate it. And, hey, I'd like to thank everybody for watching and all those subscribed to my video. And if you're not subscribed, please do. I appreciate it. And hit that thumbs up button is also a nice thing, too. Hey, listen, thanks for watching, folks. I really appreciate it. This is Brian Kuzmar with Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals in beautiful Lauderdale by the Sea. Call me anytime if you live in South Florida at 954-493-8811 for the best deals or any questions that you may have. And also, if you don't live in my area and you got some questions, please put them in comments. You know me, I'm pretty good at answering the comments section, and I'd love to answer your questions on the phone, but unfortunately, if you don't live in my area, I can't really sell anything to you. So again, feel free to put something in comments, and if it's super important, you get ripped off, or you got ripped off, or you got some, you know, you need some help on something that's going to cost you a lot of money, I don't mind you calling me in the daytime if you can keep it short. Again, I'm here to teach you how to fish, not give you a fish. Thanks for watching, folks. Y'all have a great day, and talk to you tomorrow. Bye now.